YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back. We got a weird trade within week one. I guess that's why it's weird, but it's pretty unique on how it went down. The details, we're breaking it all down. Bradley Roby to the Saints. The Texans get some picks. We're going to grade it as well. We're going to grade both teams. Grading the Saints pretty interesting in this one. We're going to break down why it's kind of unique. We already talked about a lot of this on our Twitter. We called some specific details earlier today on our Twitter. We knew this trade was coming yesterday based off the news, and now it's official. The details are out there. I'm here to do what I do here. So, hopefully you guys enjoy it. Any link that you're looking for, you follow our Twitter. You're missing out if you're not following that. All these details we kind of, hit on earlier, talking during live games. The first game's tonight, not too long away. Patreon link down below. You see a lot going on your screen as well. Just if you're looking for anything, pin in the comments, always in the description as well. Here's our Twitter. Yeah, see, so this morning I quote tweeted a tweet from yesterday. You see what I said yesterday, that I'm blocking it. Wondering if the Texans will end up paying a portion because the cap doesn't work, So we figured that out, and so maybe it could be a third-round pick. Value goes up because of the situation. Texans paying portion of the salary, so it's a good reason to follow our Twitter there. Also got the Picks League pinned at the top here. Join our Picks League prizes, shout-outs, leaderboards involved in our weekly picks videos. Check it out. Okay, now let's get to the trade details. Definitely a unique one, the timing and kind of what went down. Texans get a 2022 third-round pick. Pretty good pick there. The Texans are... Yeah, I guess they're in a rebuild mode. You would assume that Deshaun Watson gets traded eventually off-season, so that can kind of contribute. Conditional 2023 pick, so that's obviously likely a late pick in 2023, but you get two picks out of it, and they're going to end up paying roughly $7 million in salary. Usually with these trades, it ends up being, all right, yeah, we'll pay a portion of it. And here you take the player. Wasn't really like that. The Texans end up restructuring. We broke this all down, the exact details on Twitter earlier. Texans actually restructured, not a pay cut, restructured Bradley Roby's contract. Basically in a restructuring, a lot of people get confused. Restructure, pay cut, totally different things there. So people do get confused. The best way to explain it is you take the money now that is a cap hit for you and you distribute it over the remaining years of the contract. So you clear money now, cap space wise, you clear cap now, but you kind of add cap space in the future. So you kind of distribute, you kind of push it back further years. So the Texans clear money now by restructuring plus trading Bradley Roby. They distribute money to next year. So they will be paying a little bit, about half of that $7 million next year as well. So they have a cap hit next year for Bradley Roby, even though he won't be on the team, obviously. So that's something to keep in mind. They basically had to help the Saints out because I talked about on Twitter, I did the math. I figured out that the Saints are not going to be able to afford Bradley Roby. They're going to have to trade a player. They're going to have to cut a player. Wasn't likely. We knew that. So the Texans would have to pay. Essentially, they did. They paid a portion of the salary, but they did it in a somewhat unique way. But we have seen a lot of restructures that we talk about all the time on Twitter that happen. So in the Saints, they trade for the cornerback Bradley Roby, Ohio State cornerback duo now at Marshawn Lattimore. Malcolm Jenkins also from Ohio State, their safety. And they save roughly $7 million, not cleared. I wanted to make that clear because sometimes when people say, all right, this team cut so-and-so, they cleared or they saved this amount of money and essentially means cleared. So not in this case. They saved that $7 million that they were going to have to pay a 9.14 whatever cap hit in a normal trade. But because the Texans restructured the deal, they will have to pay 1.4, somewhere around the range. We talked about the exact numbers on Twitter. So they saved on that money there. They didn't actually clear any money. Obviously, they get a cap hit, it's a very small one, with Bradley Roby. So pretty confusing stuff, I guess. But at the end of the day, the Texans get some good picks. The Saints get a solid corner, which we know they've been looking for. They kind of been in desperate mode. I mean, going back to the draft, it sounded like they really wanted to trade way up into the draft to get a corner, which they would have had to give up a lot. So I'm almost thinking it was okay, it's not the worst thing that they weren't able to accomplish that because they were going to have to go give up a lot just to go up and get a corner. And there were some pretty good ones. But so they've been looking. My point is they've been looking since then, and they got one here. And there's things. Saints, it's an interesting one to grade here. Because there's some good things, there's some bad things maybe. mainly there, or as well, I should say. So Texans first. Let's go with the Texans first. I gave the Texans an A. And this probably could have been an A plus because you got a third round pick and another pick for Bradley Roby. The Texans don't really, they're kind of going in this rebuild mode anyways. They're looking to move on from a lot of these players. They get pretty good value for Bradley Roby. So that looks outstanding. A third round pick is so good, such good value for Bradley Roby there. So you would think an A plus. The reason I don't tack on the plus, I don't tack it on a lot. It's pretty rare for me to tack it on. But the reason I don't is, again, they will pay, since they're paying a portion, they will actually have a cap hit for Bradley Roby next year. And it wouldn't really be a problem, but they're probably in the range of $17 million at the moment for next year. So it's not a ton of money. So they will have a cap hit. If they had, projected, some of these teams got projected like 80 million, somewhere around there, then it'd be fine. It'd be fine. It'd look like nothing, So, and maybe they'll trade Deshaun Watson. They'll clear some more space. So, kind of a wait and see situation. But I did give them an A. They get a third round pick plus another pick. Bradley Roby wasn't going to make or break this team whatsoever. Good corner, wasn't going to make or break this team. So, definitely an A there. A pretty good day for the Texans. It's kind of odd taking out a starting corner during game week though. But they're starting to add some other corners we saw. They were starting to add some guys, whether it's their practice squad or not. Some of those guys eventually get called up. So you kind of felt something was coming here, and they almost had it planned. So probably the Saints and Texans are probably talking for a bit. Saints, so tricky to grade, and it's definitely interesting, unique. So let's talk about why. I end up giving them a B. People might be surprised because it's probably a pretty good grade there for the most part. People might be surprised because they gave up a third-round pick and another pick. Just kind of felt like they were desperate. And yes, there are negatives that I originally original thought you don't grade it as high as a B, maybe in the C range, maybe worse for some people. And those negatives are, they overpaid. They trade a third round pick for a guy 29 years old, and usually that could be the prime corners, but third round pick plus another pick. And something else I don't really love about what the Saints do. I like it and don't like it at the same time. If that makes any sense, it doesn't make any sense. But they're always in kind of Super Bowl or bust mode in a way. They're always go get this guy so we can win now. Go get this guy. Let's make this move now. Forget the future. And I love the mentality of just go get better. For a winning team, it's a good team, always a good team. I love that part of it. But sometimes, it gets you in the situation that you were in this past offseason. They had to cut a lot of guys. They had to climb out of the hole of cap space hell, which they did, which every team has to. But yeah, they had to let some guys go, in the process there. So it could be a positive and a negative there, but I do like the attitude to go get better. So those are kind of some of the negatives in the situation. Positive is they get better. I think that's kind of the problem. You guys watching this one, the viewers, I think will base this totally off of, we'll see at the end of the year or 5 weeks from now, whatever. Roby's playing out of his mind, which I think he could have maybe the best year of his career with the Saints here. I think he play well. And I think people will come back to this, say, what are you talking about? It was an A+ trade. Roby is dominating. And that's really not all of it. How I think he'll play, how I think he fits, it definitely plays a factor, but you got to talk about the value here. So, but yeah, I think the Saints do get better, so that plays a part. That they do get better. They need that other corner. They got a pretty strong secondary now. So, and I think I could see him playing maybe the best year of his career. I know he just got thrown over there, but I think I could. I'm not guaranteeing it. I think I can see it. So that's the good sign there. Another thing I like here is that he has another year under contract. So they actually have him for next year as well. He will have a $10 million cap hit, but they're not stuck with that. If they end up wanting to move on from him, they can clear that money if they need to, but that wouldn't look good on this trade because they end up being a rental, a kind of a third round pick, a Super Bowl or bust type move. It's only worth it if you go the distance. So it wouldn't be, it's kind of you feel a little more comfortable that you're not stuck with that cap hit next year. But it's not ideal if they do end up cutting him. But overall, I like that he has another year. I think what people aren't talking about, and I'm not guaranteeing anything, but what I think is they could maybe be preparing for life without Marshawn Lattimore. He's going to be a free agent. I would not pay him. I hear he's seeking, the very top tier cornerback money. I would not pay him that. Me personally, let's see how he plays this year. I'm more in favor of, let's see how he plays this year. I'm more in favor of that route. But what if, they try to trade away the house to go up and get a corner? They do value the cornerback position. They like having a good duo. They would love that. Having a guy under a rookie contract, they would love that. Maybe they're just redoing the process because Lattimore was on that rookie contract. Now they want that other great young corner on a rookie contract. They let Janoris Jenkins go. He didn't get paid a lot of money. I know they were tight, but I'm almost thinking, I'm surprised no one's talking about that. I'm almost thinking they're trying to find those pieces, so they can prepare for life without Lattimore. I don't think they know in their head it's guaranteed he's gone or it's guaranteed he's back. They're kind of just preparing themselves. You get Roby, he's going to be a lot cheaper than Lattimore will be next year, and they can make that move in the draft to get that other corner. So I think that's a possibility. No one's talking about it. So that kind of actually kind of going back to the trade and why I end up bumping it up. Look at the negatives. The negatives, again, they look like, you wouldn't grade it really anywhere near a B. But then the positives, they get better. Right now, this makes the Saints better. Again, how much better? They make this move like this is the last piece to win the Super Bowl. They can be a sneaky good team. But, again, I like having that extra year under contract because you can have them next year, but it kind of makes you in a safer spot. They are going to be – that's another thing, though. They are going to be pretty tight in terms of the cap next year as we sit. Things for sure can change. So that's also another thing, $10 million cap hit for Bradley Roby next year unless they adjust some things. So that could be a tough part. So you kind of can see for the Saints side of things, it's really all over the place. At the end of the day, we are heading into the season. The first game's tonight. The Saints play their first game this weekend. And so everyone's big picture here, what their real thought process is, how does this affect the teams on the field? And my answer to that is the Saints get better with this on the field. Here we are heading in the season. And the Texans, they don't get better. Maybe they don't even stay the same, but Bradley Roby wasn't going to make or break the Texans. They weren't going to go to the Super Bowl with Bradley Roby on the roster, and now they're not without him. So overall, looking at it that way, which I think most people look at it at where we sit in the year, the season, overall it's good for both teams looking at it that way. But yeah, again, there are some negatives for the Saints. The only negative for the Texans, they'll be paying a little bit next year. But you wouldn't have got a third-round pick plus for that. They probably would end up with a fourth-round pick by itself if they didn't pay. Maybe even a fifth possibility, probably a fourth. So third-round pick, pretty good. Pretty good. Add to the collection. They're going to try to gain some more picks. Deshaun Watson, that can also clear some space so that Roby cap hit, dead cap for this next year won't be as painful. It's not that it's crazy painful or anything, but you get my point. So those are my thoughts, my grade. Definitely thought it was a unique one, just the timing, how it went down, how the Texans restructured, and the Saints side of things is really intriguing. So what's their plans going forward? It's definitely an interesting one to say the least. We got you covered on Twitter with all this news as it happens, predicting a lot of things, a lot of details on there, so you're missing out. Picks League on there, fan-voted picks on there, talking during live games like a madman throughout the regular season. If you were following us in the past, you know. So check it out. Link pinned in the comments. Also a description. Like, subscribe, turn notifications on for all that great in-season NFL content just getting started. That's going to do it, though. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.